back to part 2 of the Cactus Pot Quilt On Point Sew Along. If you watched part 1, we talked about fabric selection and a little bit about the pattern. The pattern is in the description box of any of these videos related to this sew along. If you would like to print that out, it is a printable PDF. I do have some changes to the pattern. Not that you have cut too little fabric or bought too little fabric, but rather that you may have cut too much if you've already skipped ahead to cutting. Sometimes with half square triangles we end up cutting double what we need, and that's essentially what I did in the pattern. So if you haven't cut yours out yet, go ahead and make the changes to the pattern. You can reprint out the PDF, or you can just mark your copy as I talk about these things today. I have gone ahead and cut out my fabric, and I'm going to talk about each one. First of all, the background. On the background, I had originally said that you needed 72 4-inch squares, and we only need 36. So there's where I miscalculated with the half square triangles, forgetting that each half square triangle creates 2 squares. So 36, not 72. However, you do still need your 72 3.5-inch pieces for your blocks, and those are the solid ones that are just a part of the block. They're not half square triangles or anything. And then with the cactus plant material that you're going to use, you still need your 12 3.5-inch squares, and those are whole squares that will appear in your blocks just like these ones do on the background. But you'll only need, again, instead of 72 4-inch squares, you're going to need only 36 of those, half of what I originally said. And then the cactus pots, you still need your 12 3.5-inch squares that will appear as whole squares in your block. And then again 36. I don't know where I came up with 48, but you will need 36 4-inch squares to make your half square triangles there. So those are some changes. Instead of 72, 72, and 48, they're all 36 on those 4-inch squares. In my case, I happen to use 6 different fabric designs in my pots. So I did a 2 for each, which equaled my 12 on my 3.5-inch. And then I also did 2 of each on these, times how many ever I needed to cut to get 36. So those are all cut out and all the different patterns there. And then the large print non-directional block, if you're using like a large floral or any other sort of print that's kind of large scale, or it didn't even have to be, this isn't really all that large scale. This is what you need to cut. Just as it is printed on the pattern, you need to cut from 2 1/4-inch continuous yards. You need to cut 2 12.5-inch width of fabric strips, and from that you're going to get 6 12.5-inch squares, and that's what these are right here. And then after that, you're going to cut 3 18 3/4-inch squares, and then you're going to cut them twice diagonally. So if I put 4 of these together right now and made a square, that would be my 18 3/4-inch square. So from your fabric, cut 18 3/4 there and make 3 of those squares. I think you will need 2 cuts on that. You'll need 2 18 3/4-inch cuts on that. And then you should have enough left over to do your 2 9-inch squares, and then you're going to cut them once diagonally. So just so that we get this straight, on your 9-inch squares, you're just going to cut it down the middle one time. And put your ruler corner to corner diagonally and cut one time. Those are going to serve as your corners in the pattern here. You'll have 4 corners, and that's what those are for. Now these are your 18 3/4, and we've cut those twice. So we cut these in 2 diagonal strips. So let's just imagine we're putting it back together here. Let me pull these out of the way so you can see what I mean. If I can put this puzzle back together. Okay, so there's our 18 3/4 inch square. So you'll be cutting that square right out of your yardage, and you need 3 of them. And then you're going to cut diagonally this way, and then go back through and cut diagonally this way. And then that's going to make 12 of these side units. I'll show you the side units on here again. That's going to be these right here. 2 at the bottom, and then 3 on each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're actually going to have 2 extra ones there. And then there's your 4 corners again that we talked about before. And then your 12.5 inch blocks are these 6 in the center right here, which are these. Okay, so if you have any questions about that, just let me know. I do suggest that you go ahead and cut each one of these 18 3/4 inch blocks each separately, instead of stacking them up and then you know, whack down the middle and then whack down the other side. It's such a big span of fabric. I think it would be better if you did each one individually so that your fabric doesn't shift on you, and you know, you get an inaccurate cut. So you don't even want to know what I went through to cut this fabric diagonally. You will not have to do that. You just take your yardage and just cut strips as it shows on the pattern, and then cut them down to the squares you need, and then cut them diagonally for the you know, the diagonal pieces that you need, the triangular pieces. So my fabric was like this. So instead of making it to where it would, my block would be running sideways like this, I want my cactus pots to stand up. So I don't know if I'm showing you the right way, but I wanted them to stand up. And so that's how that's going to happen. I had to do a lot of 45-degree diagonal cuts and use every ruler that I have to be able to do that. I don't want you to try this at home because it's a lot of work and a lot of yardage, and I just happen to have a lot of yardage that I could do this with. I had to get, you know, those 18 3/4 inch big squares 3 times, cutting on a 45-degree angle. So it took a tremendous amount of fabric, and you know, you're welcome to do that if you have directional, but I don't recommend doing directional fabric that you want to turn on this project. So next week I'll be putting some of the blocks together and showing you how those are turning out, and then the following will be a video on putting the top together and how we're going to get these diagonal diamond shaped pieces together into one big rectangle. So stay tuned for part 3, and I hope this video helped you. And as I said, please send me an email or a comment in the comments down below with any questions or concerns you have. And I hope you have fun sewing along with me. Alright, see you soon for part 3. Bye.